Crypto mass adoption is closer than ever, and in this video, I want to tell you why this time is different. This is a very important thing I want to cover in this video because a lot of people have been talking about mass adoption for this industry for an extremely long time now, but I believe there are some key things taking place right now that absolutely make right now the time for cryptocurrencies to gain the mass adoption we've all been waiting for. In this video, I want to break down exactly what that thing is and why we are actually in a win-win scenario. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These two simple things really do help me out so much. Also, if you have a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So guys, there's no question that one of the biggest things that have been holding us back in terms of cryptocurrency mass adoption is regulations. We have seen a lot of speculative runs in the cryptocurrency market, a lot of assets go parabolic that really don't have any real use case and don't really have any utility. And that's caused a lot of people who have held utility tokens or networks that are going to make an actual difference in the world with a feeling that, are these things ever going to be used? Are these things ever going to be adopted? And the thing I have to say about that is it's so important to understand just how early you are to this entire revolution. We really didn't see any internet stocks during the dot-com bubble taking off prior to regulations. And that's because no one could actually adopt these systems. Regulators were shutting them down, and most people were still skeptical if the internet was even going to be important. We are in that same time period right now. We are investing in a brand new value layer for the internet that most of the world doesn't understand yet. And we are actually so early that the legislators haven't even drafted the documentation to adopt these systems, even if an institution wanted to. This is one of the biggest things holding back the industry right now. I remember an interview where a large banking CEO said that he wanted to put customer deposits in a US stablecoin to earn yield when money was just sitting around. And one of the things he was told was that this was absolutely not possible under current regulations. Now, what's so interesting about this is just a stablecoin. This is a very low risk thing to do in the grand scheme of things of everything crypto encompasses. And even that was too far over the barrier for him to be able to do this. It's so important to understand the time period we're in is pre-regulations. So to expect the adoption of utility networks prior to regulations really doesn't make that much sense. In order for these things to be fully adopted, we need regulations to allow these large institutions to actually adopt the protocols they want to use. And to expect that to happen prior to regulations, I don't think makes a lot of sense because these companies are outright saying, hey, we want to adopt this stuff, we want to use it, we simply can't. Now, I think that's the big reason we have seen a lot of speculative runs in this market so far. I think that's a big reason why we haven't seen the mass adoption many of us has wanted, because we're simply early. We're in the 1990s of the internet. A lot of people thought we were in the 2000s. A lot of people thought we were at 2005. We're even earlier than that. And while that might sound bad for some of you, the fact of the matter is that means there's still so much opportunity on the table. There is going to be a day where Wall Street is recommending to investors that they buy into cryptocurrency networks. But that is so far down the road, you can't even see that. We don't even have the regulations in place in order to use one of these networks, let alone Wall Street to be shilling these things 10 years down the road. The runway is long, but I cannot tell you how important that is in being an early adopter and profiting the most from when this technology ultimately does get adopted. I want to talk about something now that I believe is extremely important, and that is why this is going to change. One of the biggest things that has really been talked about a lot recently is which party is going to be more crypto, which party is going to actually help this industry get mass adoption. And while I completely agree that the Republican Party and Donald Trump would likely be much better for the industry, I want you to listen to this, because right now we are seeing something I have never seen before. We are watching career Democrats go against Elizabeth Warren and promote John Deaton. This is one of the most powerful things I have ever seen. Typically, the political parties won't side with each other no matter what. Anything. Never seen it. But for some reason, cryptocurrencies are so powerful, it causes people to cross the aisle. I want to share with you this clip of Chris Larson specifically talking about this. Because right now, even the powerful people in the Democratic Party are putting immense pressure on Gary Gensler and Kamala Harris to get this right. Is it going to be better than Donald Trump? I don't think so. But when it comes down to these networks getting mass adoption, I believe we might be entering a win-win scenario. Listen up to this clip. I believe it's very important in showing, you know what, you might want the Republican Party to win. Just like I candidly probably want that to happen for cryptocurrencies. I think they'll be better. But I want to show you that it might not be a death sentence like many people thought. I think there's some big changes happening on the back end, and this could be more of a win-win scenario than many people are anticipating. Listen up to this.
Basically can't sell into the U.S. market even now because U.S. companies are like, well, the SEC is appealing. And, they don't understand exactly what the SEC is appealing, but it just is, it's a reason to say, no, we don't want to fight that fight right now. We'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just add, very clearly, I think the approach that Gary Gensler pretty much directed, let's just call it who was behind it. Senator Warren, I think, was on a mission. She's literally called this the war on crypto. Was on a mission pretty much to destroy the industry, to hobble the U.S. industry by using regulation by enforcement rather than creating clear rules of the road. And what the industry has always asked for is like, just make the rules clear. Just tell us exactly what those rules are. We want those clear rules, and the industry can thrive. Consumers can be protected. That's not the approach they took, I think, on purpose, because the attacking the industry on these are all securities, it never made any sense. These are not securities. They don't have rights and privileges. The developing teams that made them don't have obligations. It fits the commodity model fundamentally, and I think they know that. But again, I think it was an attack on the industry to hobble it. Now, what was the effect of that? It just empowered a bunch of sketchier, overseas firms like FTX, which turned out to be a total disaster. So net on net, you didn't protect consumers. You hobbled the U.S. You empowered, industries in Singapore, in London. You didn't create any jobs in Ohio, for example. So it didn't make any sense. And the good news is I think we're at the twilight of Gary Gensler's reign of terror. It's just about over. And I think whoever wins this election, it's going to be a fundamentally different thing.
So I think that is really interesting. Obviously, Chris Larsen has given a lot of money to Kamala Harris and even donated her close to 11 million XRP. I guarantee you he's had some conversations, and now what we're starting to hear is everyone on the inside who is supporting the Democrats thinks Gary Gensler is gone and thinks that on the other side of this, we are likely going to be in a much more pro-cryptocurrency scenario. Now, I'm not saying that this means it's going to be better than Republicans. I'm not even saying this means that this party should win. I'm just trying to say in terms of a bullish scenario, it is so much better than an anti-crypto side and a pro-cryptocurrency side. I think the tides are shifting, and I want to show you just how good this might get. One of the people that could be the new head of the SEC if Kamala Harris wins is actually Chris Brummer. And Chris Brummer just so happens to be a former Ripple board member. Like I said again, I'm not saying that this means I think Democrats are going to be better for crypto. What I am saying is this is going to make it so in the off chance they do win, it's not some black swan. It's not something where we need to run away. It's not something where we need to say, okay, 4 more years of a bear market. I don't think that's going to be the case. And I think regardless of which side you're on, I think that can be looked at as a massive positive. Now, on the same side of that, guys, we are starting to see the adoption I talked about earlier in a really big way. This was dropped by the Bank of Russia a couple weeks ago. What it is a document where they are specifically saying that they have trialed Ripple's product using XRP. Guys, I don't know what else people need to see in order to show that this technology is mainstream. This is not some niche investor thing that's mostly focused around memes. This is not something that niche small businesses are going to use but doesn't really get adoption. You don't see the Bank of Russia and a lot of these other major institutions trialing stuff like this unless they understand there is real merit. It's stuff like this that people just need to wrap their head around. The largest institutions on earth understand what's happening here. They understand how powerful this technology is. And they're not just trialing this for fun. They are doing this because they understand there is merit here that could be extremely important to what we see moving forward. And I think regulations are the key thing that's really been holding all of this back. These large institutions have their head wrapped around it, but most of them really can't adopt it in the ways they need to actually use this technology. That's what you've been here before. This is what you got in before. Now, for some people, that's been hard. There's been a lot of FUD. There's been a lot of uncertainty. But ultimately, this is where the profits are made. It's not coming in after this. It's not coming in after these large institutions are using it. It's realizing that this is likely going to happen before. And I want to drill that in your heads because it's the most important thing. And it's on the other side of that, the FUD, the uncertainty, did I get this wrong? Did I waste my time? That's always what stage people are in when it comes to investing and forecasting a new technology being important in the world. It wasn't any easier when the internet came out and the early people saw Amazon building all these crazy things, putting together this vision, but the market not appreciating it. In fact, Amazon stock was up hundreds of thousands of percents before Wall Street could even wrap their head around why Amazon was an important company. It's going to take people a long time to get it. You just need to understand that you got it a lot earlier. And the last thing I want to touch on quick that I believe is very important is the macroeconomic environment. A lot of people have said, oh, we're going into a recession. Oh, things are going to be terrible. Guys, it might be bad on the consumer, but Elon Musk just reassured us that low interest rates are coming, and this is going to be very good for Tesla. Are we investing in Tesla? No. But what this proves is that low interest rates are very good for business. Low interest rates are coming. They're around the corner. And let me tell you, they are going to be good for the cryptocurrency sector as well. We get regulations, if we get an environment that's pro-crypto, if we start to see an emergence of real institutions using this technology, I really do think the sky's the limit. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. And for now, Mickle out.